Hello everybody, my name is Jennifer Davenport. I'm an interior designer, I'm a shop owner and an educator. And in today's video, we are going to make two stunning DIY ornaments. They're going to be so elegant, budget friendly, and anybody can make them, so stay tuned. This video is going to be so fun. If you're like me and you love to craft, then this video is for you. I am in my dining room. I have a 5-foot tree in here, and this year I wanted to make a few do-it-yourself ornaments that look old world and really unique. So for the very first one that I'm going to show you how to make today, it's going to look like an intaglio. I love intaglios. Now, I found these really cool blocks, and don't worry, I'm going to put a link in the description of the video, so be sure to look there for the links of the supplies I used. But these are blocks, cookie cutters, but we're going to use them to make these intaglio ornaments. To make these ornaments, I'm using air dry clay. Now, you want to kind of warm it up in your hands a little bit before you press it into your mold. Okay, I'm pressing in that clay into the mold. Next, you want to find something sharp and flat so that you can scrape off the excess clay. And I'm using my biscuit cutter. And I'm just going to take it and go all the way across the back of that mold. All right, take your finger and kind of push a little bit around the edges. What that's going to do is it's going to loosen the clay a little bit so that we can pop this ornament out. And once you've done that, turn it over and slap it. Pops out. Super easy. So find something that you can use to make a small hole in the top. I've got a really small screwdriver. This is where you're going to put your ornament hook or ribbon in, and make sure you flip it over on the back to make sure that went all the way through. And that is it. Now I'm going to place my ornaments on parchment paper. You can let this air dry overnight, but what I'm going to do is my oven setting has a setting called proof. So I'm going to pop this in the oven because proof is just a little bit warmer than your normal temperature in your house, and that'll speed up the process a little bit. Intaglios are white, and then they'll have gold on the edges. So that's what I want to mimic with these ornaments. Now I'm going to use liquid gold leaf, and let me tell you something, if you pour this liquid gold leaf into a plastic cup, it will leak through that plastic cup. So I'm just going to dip out of the bottle, and I'm going to use a very small paintbrush and gently go around the edges and just the outside edges. Now you could take the front of this ornament and paint detailings with the gold. You could take the color burnt umber from acrylic paints and make it look old and antique. Just do whatever you would love to do. Just enjoy the process. Now I'm gonna use ribbon on my ornaments, but here's one thing I figured out when I was doing this project. So if I just make a loop for that to hang on the tree, once I put it on the branch, guess what it's going to do? It's going to turn sideways. So what I'm going to do is make a bow with a little loop, and then I'm going to take an ornament hook and hook it on the tree with that, and that way my intaglio ornament will lay flat and look beautiful. For this next DIY ornament project, we are going to be Mod Podging some patterned napkins onto a plastic ornament. You can get a whole box for 20 of them for less than $10. Both of these ornament projects we're doing today are so budget friendly, and they'd be super fun to do with your grandkids, your kids, or maybe have a girl night ornament making party. All right, let's get started on this one. Pop that top off. We're going to paint that later. I went ahead and made a pattern for my ornament on how I want to cut out the napkin pieces. And this is basically it. All I did, straight across, make sure it goes to the bottom, and I'm gonna overlap each piece as I go all the way around the ornament. Let's talk about the pattern napkins. This girl loves a toile, and when I found this napkin, yes, it was the perfect pattern for the ornaments that I want to make. The other napkin I found that I might make some ornaments later with my granddaughters. Look at this, beautiful little colorful ornaments. Again, I'm gonna have the links to these in the description of this video. But again, did not cost very much for a whole pack of napkins. Now, when you're cutting your pattern out, you don't wanna put your pattern on your napkin and outline it, because that will show when you're putting it on your ornament. Just hold your pattern piece. And remember, this isn't about perfection, okay? Cut your pattern piece out. All right, and then you're gonna wanna separate them, because some of those pieces are gonna have the white background, and we don't want that on the ornament. 5 of these little pattern pieces will get your ornament totally complete. Before you get started, you're gonna have to have a plan on where to set your ornament once you've got all of the pattern napkin on it. So you kind of have to get creative. This is just a plastic cup and a plastic straw. Once my ornament is covered, I'm just gonna set it over that to let it dry. Let me share with you which Mod Podge I used. I chose the matte one. I didn't want it shiny. It's the water-based glue, sealer, and finish all in one. So once I coat this ornament, I'm done. Okay, now it's time to get started. I'm going to use an old brush and start swiping that Mod Podge on about the width of my first pattern piece. Now these napkins, you could use fabric, because these napkins are pretty thin, but I kind of like that because once I get it on there, it seems to really fold into it really, really well. So once you get that first one on there, make sure it's all the way to the top and bottom. Go ahead and Mod Podge over it. And if you see a piece that's kind of sticking up, just tap it with your finger, and then you're ready to move on to the next one. Now make sure when you're putting your pieces on, if your napkin has a certain direction it goes, like mine is a scene, so I need to have each piece in that same direction. And go ahead, when you put that second piece on, it is okay if it overlaps that first one. Just go piece by piece when you're adding it. It goes much smoother and easier to do. You know, I remember doing DIY ornaments with my mother growing up, and it's just so relaxing, and it's such a great memory maker, especially if you're doing it with kids. It's so crazy during Christmas, so take a few moments to have an afternoon to do something that is creating. Now it's time to paint the ornament topper, and if you'll take a paper plate and just poke a small hole in it, that way when you're done painting, it'll set right in there to dry. All right, I am back to the gold leaf again. And I'm just gonna paint the whole top. And don't forget to paint the little round hook on top. Now you don't have to put a ribbon on this ornament, but I'm a ribbon girl, so I'm gonna put one on. Well, stay tuned and be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that already. The next video is going to be my own home tour for the holidays. Have a great day.